Well, good evening, Lupus warriors all around the world, Lupus warriors and survivors. Welcome to another video brought to you by the Lord's Lupus and Support channel. I hope this video finds you doing well. Tonight's topic has me feeling some kind of way. And so I just want to warn you, this topic, it may be a little bit too much for some of you if you are going through it right now or if you've been through it. But, if you think it's going to have you feel in some sort of way, just, a warning ahead of time that maybe you may not want to watch this video. But let me jump right into it. Going to give you a scenario here. A 50-year-old woman goes to her doctor's appointment, her primary care physician. Her chief complaint is joint pain, fatigue, and just, difficulty getting out of bed in the morning. The doctor's response after her lab work comes back and everything is normal. The doctor's response is, well, you're getting to that age. You're going to have some joint pain. You're going to have difficulty getting out of the bed. That's normal. That comes along with age. Ooh. Second scenario. A 45-year-old woman. Well, no, let me change it up. Let me make it a male this time. 45-year-old male has been going to see his doctor for about 6 years. His blood work has been coming back a little bit abnormal for about 6 years. There are some things that are of some concern. The doctor for 6 years has been telling him, yeah, you have some sort of a connective tissue disease, due to the positive ANA results and a few other things that came back that were, not in the normal range. And so this 45-year-old man has been, faithfully going to this doctor since he was about 21, 22 years old. And so he doesn't want to really go to another physician. This physician has been treating him well all of these years. He feels that this physician has been taking pretty good care of him. But it's just these past 6 years that the physician has been telling him, it could be this, it could be that. But get this. Coming towards the end of the 6th year, he decides, you know what, doctor, since we can't really pinpoint a diagnosis, or I'm not agreeing with this diagnosis or lack of a diagnosis, I think I'm going to seek a second opinion. The doctor gets very upset. This 45-year-old man has never seen the side of this doctor. The doctor tells him, well, you know what? You must not be satisfied with my service, because anyone who's satisfied with my service, they wouldn't be seeking a second opinion. I am doing the best I can to help you. And if you're not satisfied with that, then there's nothing else I can do for you. A week later, the 45-year-old man gets a letter from the doctor's office that, we're no longer accepting you as a patient. We have released you from the doctor and you are free to go and find yourself a different primary care physician or a different physician. Well, my friend, these two scenarios, these two people have just been medically gaslighted. This is a terminology, I've been familiar with gaslighting. Most of the time when you think of gaslighting, you hear this in, more of psychology, social work, in those circles, because gaslighting is attributed to people who are deceitful, manipulative, and maybe even, narcissistic or have narcissistic traits. Those are people who, they operate in the realm of gaslighting. But just recently, I was looking through an article and it came up. The title of the article was Medical Gaslighting. And I want to tell you who it's written by. Give me just a second here. The article was written by Geri Rodriguez. It was written on June 9th, 2022, for lupus.net. And that, I had never heard of medical gaslighting before. But if you've ever had one of these scenarios to happen to you, you've just been medically gaslighted. And truthfully, medical gaslighting happens more often than not. And sometimes, we're not aware that we're being gaslighted. And even sometimes, just to be fair to physicians, sometimes they're not aware that they're medically gaslighting you. But if you've ever been in one of these scenarios, then you've just been on the receiving end of medical gaslighting. And so what is medical gaslighting? Let's define it. Medical gaslighting is the belittling or dismissal of a patient's symptoms by a healthcare professional, which makes the patient doubt themselves or not continue to seek treatment or to downplay the symptoms that they're experiencing. Sometimes can be detrimental, because then when the symptoms become to the point where they can be seen, then that's when the doctor goes into, oh, well, we better treat this, and we've never talked about this before, but you know that you have mentioned it before. It just wasn't taken serious because the symptoms were not able to be seen. And so one of the main symptoms in which patients may be on the receiving end of medical gaslighting is when it comes to pain. And even for lupus warriors and lupus survivors, some of the stories that I've heard, a lot of lupus patients sometimes are on the receiving end of medical gaslighting. And so on today, I'm going to give you some statements and some actions that will show you, or help you to understand or be aware of when you're on the receiving end of medical gaslighting. Okay. Also, with medical gaslighting, the medical professional may contribute or attribute your condition or symptoms to something else. You may even hear that your condition is due to stress, anxiety, or it even could be attributed to psychological issues. And so I'm going to give you a few examples of medical gaslighting. You may want to write these down. If you have ever experienced medical gaslighting, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what your experience has been and how you handled it, or at the time that you know that you were being medically gaslit. But anyway, if you've ever had a physician to tell you that your symptoms are all in your head, that is medical gaslighting. If you've ever been told that the kind of pain that you're experiencing, that's normal, that's life, you're on the receiving end of medical gaslighting. If you've ever been told by a physician that maybe if you try exercising more or changing your diet, and I mean, sometimes that is a good recommendation, but if that's the only thing that they're attributing your symptoms to, then you could be possibly on the receiving end of medical gaslighting. If you've been denied access to your medical records, or things in your medical records have been blotted out, so that you can't read it, you're on the receiving end of medical gaslighting. If you have been blamed for your condition or your symptoms, that it's all your fault, you're on the receiving end of medical gaslighting. If you've been discouraged, to not seek a second opinion, you're on the receiving end of medical gaslighting. Also, if you are told that you're not that sick, your symptoms are not that serious, You're on the receiving end of medical gaslighting. If you've been told that, if you have questions or you're doubting a treatment or a treatment plan, and you've been told by the doctor, well, don't you trust me? Or if you've been told, I'm the doctor and you're not, then you're on the receiving end of medical gaslighting. And so I bring this to your attention so that you will know that any of these statements or denial of access to your medical records, or told that it's all in your head, or someone blaming you for your condition or discouraging you from seeking a second opinion, you don't have to accept that. It's very important as lupus warriors and lupus survivors that we advocate for ourselves, that you stand up for yourself, that you know that you have a right to a second opinion. You have a right to have your questions answered. You have a right to have your symptoms and your condition taken seriously. You have a right that even though sometimes your lab work may come back normal, but you know your body, you have a right for further investigation of what's going on, with your illness. You have a right. And anytime someone is not doing that, then you have a right to seek a second opinion. You have a right to keep going until you find a doctor that's willing to listen to you, willing to investigate your symptoms further, willing to run the necessary tests, even though your lab work may appear normal, run additional tests to see what's going on. I mean, I've heard stories of MRIs being denied, CT scans denied, x-rays denied, after the basic metabolic panel, the basic lab work done, then additional testing and further testing is denied. And so I want you to know that you have a right as a patient. You have a right to have your symptoms taken seriously. You have a right to ask questions. You have a right to question a medication or a treatment plan. And you have a right to seek a second opinion. And just, the only thing I can tell you is that if you're experiencing any of this, have a talk with the doctor. If you're being medically gaslit by your physician, have a talk with that doctor and say, hey, this is not right. And I want to be taken serious. And I want you to investigate, my symptoms and my condition even more. I demand that you give me certain tests. And if they're unwilling, don't just go for a second opinion and then come back. Keep going until you find someone who's going to listen and address your issues and give you a proper diagnosis and not keep putting you off. Even if your doctor does not take time to listen to you and answer your questions, to me, that's a form of medical gaslighting. And so not all physicians are like this. There are some wonderful doctors out there. I am by no means, bashing any medical doctors, but we need to be aware that this happens a lot. Medical gaslighting happens a lot. And if you're on the receiving end of it, you will walk away feeling discouraged, scratching your head. You know something is wrong, but sometimes you'll give up on yourself. But I'm here to encourage you that you are worth fighting for. Don't walk away discouraged. Don't walk away, scratching your head. Don't downplay or dismiss your symptoms until it's too late. You are worth fighting for you. And if you don't stand up for you, who will? Okay? And so I'm going to conclude this video at this time. Like I said, these scenarios and these statements and these actions had me, feeling some sort of way because I've been on the receiving end of this, and it's not a good feeling. And it's really sad when, you have a good doctor and you've been with them for years and you really don't want to let them go. But, after 6 or 7 years, and it's the same thing over and over again, you keep hearing the same thing, or unwillingness to listen or further investigate, then I don't care if you've been with this doctor for 25 years, it's time to move on. I don't care how great they are, it's time to move on. But anyway, As I say at the end of every video, there is life after lupus, and that God loves you, and he loves you with all of his heart. And he always has. He has a purpose and a plan and a destiny for your life that involves you showing up for you. My friend, I want to encourage you on this video today to stay strong, stay encouraged, advocate for yourself, stand up for yourself. You know your body, what's going on inside of you better than anyone else. And although your symptoms may not be visible to the naked eye, if something doesn't feel right inside of you, go with your instinct, go with your gut. Don't allow anyone to downplay or dismiss your symptoms. Okay? And so stay blessed, and I'll talk to you all soon on the next video. Please make sure that if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Please like. Please share the videos, and please leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you've ever experienced medical gaslighting, like I said at the beginning of the video, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know how you were medically gaslight, if you're willing to talk about it, and how did you handle it, and how do you advocate for yourself when you encounter medical gaslighting. Take care, my friends. Bye for now. Talk to you soon.